Get free tech advice for your business from O2 Gurus. Search O2 Business for more.
Hey guys, welcome to BTech. I've got 8 phones here and I'm going to tell you how the displays fare across all of them. I've got them arranged in anti-clockwise order of sharpness. So we've got the least sharp device, it's the iPhone 6, around 326 pixels per inch. You've got a 400 pixel per inch iPhone 6 Plus, full HD display on that. You've also got a full HD display on the next 3 devices, 5.2 inches and 5 inches. So the Xperia Z3 and Z3 Plus and the HTC One M9. Very similar resolutions there. Quad HD panels on the Nexus 6, LG G4 and Samsung Galaxy S6. But how do they stack up against each other? Well, the Nexus 6 is the least sharp of the Quad HDs, being the largest, and the S6 is the sharpest, S6 Edge even. Now let's talk about quality, because we really did just want to touch on sharpness, because that's all numbers. We're going to start off with depth of blacks, and unsurprisingly, the depth of blacks in the 2 AMOLED screens are the best. AMOLED screens don't emit much light when they're showcasing blacks, so that's something that's quite obvious to say. But how do they actually stack up against one another? Well, the Galaxy S6 Edge looks like an altogether brighter panel than that of the Nexus 6. All these are set to full brightness, by the way. The Galaxy S6 Edge might not have quite as deep blacks as the Nexus, but that's probably down to the fact that it looks brighter. It looks like there's more contrast between the whites and the blacks, which in turn makes it look like a more pleasing panel than the Nexus 6. As far as blacks goes across the LCD displays, the iPhones definitely look like the most enjoyable blacks to look at. The LG G4 has really nice deep blacks, but it does also look dimmer. The screen isn't as bright, especially off angle. So while you do have that depth there, it might not be for the best reasons. We definitely would like a brighter screen. It pales in comparison next to the S6 Edge, so we can bring them closer to frame. And you can really see, as we side by side, the S6 Edge is just brighter, especially off angle. It's just a significantly stronger screen than the LG G4. I can put them down and talk you around the Z3 and Z3 Plus now. Now the Z3 Plus looks like it has deeper blacks than the Z3. The Z3 is the most washed out, especially off angle, and doesn't look as black. It looks kind of more grey. I'd say that the Z3 and Z3 Plus are beautifully saturated. The HTC One M9 kind of looks like a balance of both. It's less washed out blacks, but not quite as vibrant colours as the triluminous Z3. I'd even go so far as to say that the HTC One M9 was the least over vibrant, saturated of the bunch. It might not look as punchy as Poppy. It has really realistic colours though, especially for photographs, and white balance, and that's what I'm going to come on to next. It's a very subjective thing. I'll be talking about exactly what I see with my eyes. I've got something that's white here, and obviously that'll be affected by the ambient light, but it'll be my personal reference point. Head on, I would definitely say that the best whites come from the HTC One M9 and the iPhones, as well as the LG G4. The LG G4 and the One M9 are slightly cooler. The iPhone 6 and 6 Plus slightly warmer whites than the HTC and the LG, but definitely those 4 have my favorite. The Sony Xperia Z3 Plus has an even cooler white, while the Z3 really does look like it has brighter whites, a brighter screen than the Z3 Plus. Maybe Sony decided to drop the brightness on the Z3 Plus to optimize the battery, given the smaller capacity cell inside. Maybe it's a different kind of screen technology in some respect. Who knows what it is. But yeah, interestingly, the Z3 looks brighter than the Z3 Plus head on. Maybe that also accounts for the fact that it doesn't look as washed out as far as the blacks go, especially off angle, because it's actually emitting less light. Anyway, as far as whites go, the LCDs win out. Unsurprisingly, AMOLEDs look a little bit bluer. I will say that integrity across the Galaxy S6 Edge's whites are really great for an AMOLED. Much better than the Nexus 6. The Nexus 6 off angle actually starts to look a little bit orangey, but yeah, super impressed with the Galaxy S6 Edge. I'd say my favorite screen across all of them, without a doubt. Incredible viewing angles and really good amount of depth to those blacks in spite of the fact it's a very bright, vibrant screen. So speaking of vibrancy, the next thing I'm going to talk about is saturation and color, and the two AMOLED panels look really saturated, but the AMOLEDs have a tendency to make the reds look a little bit orange, and indeed both the S6 and the Nexus 6 do. I'd say the strongest, most beautiful, vibrant reds come from the Sony Xperia Z3 and the Z3 Plus. They kind of have real redness, if that's an accurate depiction, to them. The iPhones look really good, the HTC One M9 looks really good, and the G4 looks deeper. So I'd say that despite the fact blacks are so deep on the AMOLEDs, the colours of the reds in particular don't have quite that maroony depth. But it's really interesting to see the colour variance. If I bring the S6 Edge into frame, you can see the LG G4 has maybe slightly washed out red, but it definitely looks redder, especially in the RGB bar. But maybe a little bit too deep. It also looks very different on the Xperia Z3 Plus. The Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge looks more orange, and yeah, the Z3 Plus looks very red. So in terms of color accuracy, the AMOLEDs may look super pleasing. They're not necessarily always as on point IPS displays. So LG's Quantum IPS, HTC's IPS SLCD3 display even, and the Sony Xperia Z3 Triluminous display, really great for color accuracy. I'd still say my favorite screen was the Galaxy S6 Edge, given the fact when you're thumbing through UIs, playing games, watching movies, that slight inaccuracy, if you can even call it that, it's going to add some cinematic oomph to it. It's going to give it a real richness and that depth as well. Also, the additional brightness on the S6 Edge just looks great. Obviously, the size of the Nexus 6 makes it perfect for gaming and immersive video experience as well. It's really sharp too, so it's going to be decent for reading, but in terms of white accuracy, I'd choose one of the IPS LCD panels for reading a lot. So the LG G4 has the sharpest LCD panel on the block, so ebooks will look fantastic. But obviously anything above 300 odd, 320 odd pixels per inch, which is what Apple classifies as retina, will look decent, imperceptible to most as far as each pixel goes. So yeah, the iPhone's still not as sharp as the rest, but they'll still deliver a decent viewing experience given the accurate white balance. But I'd still say media consumption I'd probably enjoy personally more on an AMOLED panel. So that has been a relatively dry run through in terms of there's been a lot of me talking, but hopefully you still found it useful, entertaining. If you've got any specific questions about any of the phones, please fire them in the comments section below. And if you like the channel, subscribe. That's how you're going to stay on top of everything we do, and it helps us out massively as it gives us the opportunity to make videos like this. Thanks for watching.